real what?
A B sharp.
Yes, it is a B sharp.
I didn't know how to play it on my horn.
You play it as a C. You play it as a C.
Okay, if you ask.
You play it as a C. B sharps happen. E sharps happen.
Well, I guess because it's written
In the key signature. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. The morning hangs a signal.
Good morning. I'm Kurt Ullman. I'll be serving as worship associate today. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Savannah. Our minister, Reverend Lisa Day, is our worship leader this morning. Here at the UU Church of Savannah, we are working to build a diverse, multicultural, and beloved community. We celebrate the presence and participation of people of all races, sexual orientations, genders, abilities, and ethnic and national origins. We welcome you warmly on YouTube and on site, believers, non-believers, and wild ones. If you're visiting with us this morning and would like to introduce yourself, please rise or raise your hand, and Mark will bring a microphone. Are there any visitors on this side who would like to make themselves known?
Hello, my name is Nancy Smith. I'm visiting from the Villages, the Tri-County UU Church there. My daughter is a labor and delivery nurse at Memorial Hospital, and my future son-in-law will be stationed at Fort Stewart come November. So I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else on that side? Anyone on this side?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kylan Riley. I'm the newly adopted daughter of Susan Daggett and late Ron.
Welcome.
I haven't been here in a while, so it's nice to see you all. Hello, hello.
Welcome.
Oh, and I'm visiting from Charlotte.
If you're looking for a new faith community, we encourage you to visit several times to get a feel for our worship style and our approach to matters of faith and religion. It's great to have all of you with us. Please join us in Ron Hall for refreshments following the service. You'll find Ron Hall in the next building by following the crowd through this door or the main door, or ask the ushers. This is the last Sunday of our choir's summer break. You won't want to miss its return next week, perhaps accompanied by a mystery guest. I'm assuming that's the choir and not you, but... There are two cards in the back pew in front of you to help us gather information for the good of our community. Use the QR code on the Rainbow Chalice card to sign up for our newsletter and to receive a welcome letter from our minister, or if you prefer, fill out the card by hand. The card with the red heart and chalice is to share a joy or sorrow. If you fill out either of these cards, please put it in the collection plate a little bit later. Church announcements are emailed to members and friends on Tuesdays and Fridays. Check your email for complete details about the many programs and events of our congregation. I will draw attention to a few of them. The Green Team will be holding their first meeting of the year in Ron Hall at 6:30 on Thursday, September 5th. And all UUCS members are invited to join our UU Savannah Green Team at the Georgia Interfaith Power and Light GIPL Coastal Green Team Summit on Saturday, September 21st from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the First Presbyterian Church in Savannah. To learn more, you can talk to Kevin in the back or check the email blast after the service. Our multi-generational service next Sunday will include our annual water ceremony. Remember to bring a small jar or vial of water gathered on your summer travels, or a symbol of your summer endeavors. With the lighting of our chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, we enter into sacred time. Our chalice lighter this morning is Judy. Our chalice lighting words are by Eric Walker Wickstrom. Here today in this place and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice we light light our way.
In a world that feeds on moral outrage, we are here to cultivate moral courage. In a time that prizes picking sides, we gather to draw a wider circle. And in a culture that teaches us to get for what we give and to ask, what's in it for me? We come to practice generosity and to remember we are all in this together. In the midst of life's bitterness, we choose to sing, to give thanks, to laugh together, and to be keepers of beauty, to offer a place of belonging for all who come in gladness and in pain, to resist the push to the next moment and the next, to slow down, to breathe more deeply, to feel a part of something greater for this hour and in this space. Let us be the change we wish to see. Come, let us worship together. Will you please rise in spirit or in body for hymn number 40, The Morning Hangs a Signal. Instead of a story this morning, we are celebrating a child dedication, a ritual both ancient and timeless. In all parts of the earth and from the earliest days of recorded history, parents have brought their children to places of worship, sharing the joy and immensity of the parental undertaking with their faith community. Susan's desire to bring her daughter before us this morning is no different than the desire that called other parents to bring their children into this space and sacred time in years gone by, or that will call others here in years to come. A child is a parent's child without regard to age or origin of becoming. Our ceremony weaves together three elements. The name of the child announces her place in community. The reason we have names is so that others may call to us as companions and friends. The flower is the symbol of the unfolding life of the child. In each person, we affirm an inherent worth and a fundamental dignity, the foundation of potential from which beauty and goodness arise. The water, this water from our water ceremony last September, symbolizes nurture of the child. Just as a flower grows by rain and sun and soil and can be encouraged to bloom or kept from blossoming due to its environment, so too a child depends upon rain and sun and soil, as well as the quality of life that others create in the community and the child's environment. Susan, please bring your child forward. Megan, will you join us? You need to be on that side. Please name your child.
This is Kylan. This is Kylan Danae Riley.
Kylan Danae Riley, we welcome you. With this rose, we touch your head that you might think clearly, your lips that you might speak the truth, your heart that you might love deeply, your hands that you might serve others. We give you this flower to keep as a reminder of how deeply you are loved. Susan, responding to the claim of life, do you promise to the best of your ability to continue to nurture this daughter in a blend of families and communities that celebrate who she has always been, is now, and is still becoming, in an atmosphere that is open to the wise teachings of religions of the world, which inspire us and guide us to live by truth, compassion, and love, and encourages her to find her way in faith? If so, say,
I do.
Members and friends of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Savannah, a responsibility comes from hearing a child's name, a responsibility to witness this adult child's unique and precious being, to care for her as one of our own, to recognize her as representative of all of our children. Do you promise to accept this responsibility and so to work toward a peaceful, just, and equitable world where she and every child, from birth through the end of life, can grow in strength and health and love? Will you serve this congregation in ways suited to your talents and interests, to the benefit of all our children? And will you support all the parents in our midst? If so, say, we do. We do. Usually, when we have child dedications here at church, we're celebrating new babies or other young children. Some of you, but I don't think so, may have been dedicated at this church or other churches. And as you probably already know, even grown-ups are the children of their parents forever, just like Kylan is Susan's daughter. You are here today to witness Kylan's dedication so that you know that the grown-ups in this church will always consider you one of our children, no matter how old you get, so that you can promise to welcome any new child who comes to our church with friendliness. And so you can say to Kylan, we're glad you're one of us. Please say, We promise. And we're glad you're one of us, Kylan. It is sometimes said on occasions such as this that each child comes into the world as a sign that life is not yet discouraged of humankind. Kylan, know that you are a sign of hope and possibility. Know that you are loved, and may all the blessings of this community be upon you from this day and forevermore. Amen.
Amen.
You may return to your seats. And we will sing you on your way to religious education.
As we approach the time for our offering, give what you will for the church that has meant so much to you, for the church that has meant so much to those who came before you, and for the church that will mean so much to people you will never know. Give what you will, for you are a generous people. To donate via debit or credit card, please use the QR code on the back of the order of service, or go to www.uusavannah.org and click the donate button. Mailed checks are also welcome. Thank you for your generosity. Together we build a better world. The gifts of the congregation will be most gratefully received. We have several joys and sorrows. This is from Tracy. It's a sorrow, family discord, lack of healing from domestic violence as mother recovers from Sunday and ongoing, from surgery, and ongoing Alzheimer's, excuse me. And from Louise, today, 12 years ago, my daughter Amy's best friend Emily was shot and killed in Savannah. It was not long after that I became a member of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America and have been working to prevent gun violence. And I have a sorrow this morning. My heart goes out to the families and friends of the hostages recently executed by Hamas in Gaza, as well as to the thousands of Gazans whose lives have been destroyed by the terrible violence since October 7th. And a joy, I want to thank again Lorraine Laferriere and her organization Fountain V Work for the refreshments today. Fountain V Work advocates for improving the social welfare of disabled veterans with PTSD and moral injuries, applying faith-based principles of the UUA and its military ministry. Let us hold all our joys and sorrows, spoken and unspoken, in our hearts as we join together in the responsive reading found in your order of service. Sorrow is everywhere.
That joy is reborn.
As we mourn together,
So we celebrate together.
and offer thanks,
That we are not alone.
so may it be now and in all the days to come.
Let us continue in a spirit of meditation. The words of meditation this morning are from Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning is a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes from an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if there are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. They may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Amen. Our first reading this morning from Unitarian Universalist minister, the Reverend Rebecca Safford. Victoria Safford. I knew a man once who came to church every Sunday. You may find nothing remarkable in this, but think of it. A man who came every single Sunday. And it was not that he lacked other things to do. I knew him only in the last years of his life, a birthright Unitarian, a retired geologist who, when he was not at church, was a volunteer for Amnesty International, for the local food bank, for the American Civil Liberties Union, for the Family Planning Clinic, the AIDS Project, for the Unitarian Universalist district we were part of, for the Audubon Society, and for a splendid community chorus. Busier than any of us still holding full-time jobs, he was committed, effective, clear about what he could and would, and by his own standards should contribute to the causes that he cared for, the world and the people that he cared for. But what set him apart from all of us was that he came every single Sunday. And because of hearing loss, I think, more than any sense of his own importance, he sat in the front row. Why do you come, John? In all kinds of weather, when you're well and when you're not, when you like the guest speaker and when you know you won't, why do you come every Sunday? I asked him not long before he died. His answer was straightforward, just like the man himself. I come, he said, because somebody might miss me if I didn't. He said it in a way that was not arrogant at all, but generously and honestly. He was the kind of person who saw it as his duty and his privilege to welcome newcomers on Sunday morning, not because he needed more friends himself. The man was 80 years old with a lifetime of friends and colleagues and acquaintances to spare. He had plenty of friends already, more than he could handle. He did it not because he wanted to evangelize the visitors or grow the church. On the contrary, he loved and missed the tiny congregation he'd joined in 1955. He felt a little lost with so many new faces, a little sad at all the changes. He greeted people as they came and steered them toward the minister, the coffee pot, the Sunday school, the guest book, the pledge cards, the sign-up sheets, because he felt it was the right and only thing to do. When people come into your home, you welcome them as if nothing in the moment matters more. He worked hard on Sunday mornings. He got up Sundays expecting to work hard and to make others feel at home. He came with that in mind, and he was right. After he died, we missed him when he did not come. And do you know what happened? The Sunday after his memorial, someone new who had never met John Eric and now never would have the chance, walked right in and sat down in his empty place in the front row. A whole family just sat right down as if they owned the place, as if they had every right to be there, as if we were glad to see them. 2 women new to town and their toddler and their baby. They came hoping there was room, and John himself would have been delighted. And from the poet Naomi Shihab Nye, Red Brocade. The Arabs used to say, when a stranger appears at your door, feed him for 3 days before asking who he is, where he's come from, where he's headed. That way, he'll have enough strength to answer. Or, by then, you'll be such good friends you don't care. Let's go back to that. Rice? Pine nuts? Here, take the red brocade pillow. My child will serve water to your horse. No, I was not busy when you came. I was not preparing to be busy. That's the armor everyone put on to pretend they had a purpose in the world. I refuse to be claimed. Your plate is waiting. We will snip fresh mint into your tea. Here end the readings. Will you rise in body or spirit for our hymn number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. We will sing through it 2 times. At our board retreat last Saturday, one of our UUCS board members said, "In order to plan for this year and beyond, we need to know how many members we want to have, and what kind of members do we want to have." Then, as if to signal that her questions were both rhetorical and not rhetorical at the same time, she went on, "No one ever wants to answer those questions, here or in my previous church, because they are political questions." Our discussion moved on in other directions before I had a chance to answer, so I will do it now. And I say those are theological questions, not political. And I believe they need to be answered in reverse order. What kind of members do we want to have first? And then, how many members do we want to have? Church folks, ministers, and lay leaders, and regular members of congregations endlessly debate what kind of members we want, and subsequently, how do we attract potential members of the kind we want? People like us, people different from us, across all sorts of criteria: educational background, socioeconomic status, race, age, political persuasion. There are backing arguments for each of the positions, why it's better to attract new members who are like us or not like us, according to any of those criteria. And further, there are backing arguments for why it is or is not okay to say aloud that we want new members who are like us or not like us. Some try to avoid the pitfalls of that approach to the question by arguing that we want new members who share our beliefs. But that has its own pitfalls for a faith that is and has been staunchly non-creedal, one that encompasses beliefs ranging from atheism to Unitarian Universalist Christianity. Still others, and this is the group I usually fall in with, will say, we want to attract members who share our approach to matters of faith and religion, who understand that there are many paths to the truth, that we each must eventually find our own way in the search for meaning and answers to life's big questions, and that the search is more fruitful when we do it alongside other seekers. I still think that's a useful answer to the question of what kind of members we want in our congregation and in Unitarian Universalism writ large. But our Soul Matters packet for this month of September gave me another way of framing my answer. Among the worship resources for the practice of welcome, the theme for September, was a quote from author Shauna Nyquist. True hospitality is when someone leaves your home feeling better about themselves, not better about you. I think the kind of members we want in our congregation are people who come into our church home and leave later feeling better about themselves for having been here. We want members who feel better about themselves when they hear and see and experience that we welcome families of all constellations and individuals of all genders and sexual orientations. Who feel better about themselves when they're offered and take part in opportunities to serve their community, to work for justice, to contribute toward the healing of our planet. Who feel better about themselves when their spirits and intellects are tended and engaged and celebrated in worship and adult education offerings. We want members who feel better about themselves when they've heard that we don't expect them to recite a creed, let alone believe it. When they hear that we know they are capable of engaging the big questions of life on their own terms, and we expect them to do so in the company of fellow speakers, inspired by sacred texts from around the globe and across the ages. We want members who feel better about themselves when they realize that they've been to several of our services and never heard a suggestion that they were born sinful or that they need to be saved from their inherent essential nature. Who feel better about themselves when they leave on Sunday mornings with children who are enthusiastic about what they learned and did in RE, and knowing they are cherished here, want to be back next week. Now, it may sound like I've said everyone is the kind of member we want, because who wouldn't feel better about themselves after time spent at our church? Isn't everyone made to feel better about themselves by all the things that make us feel better about ourselves, all the things this church is to us? But that's not so, of course. Some people feel better about themselves after time spent in religious community that closely reflects their own ethnic group, or after time spent in a faith community that sustained them and their families for generations, or after time spent in a church that provides more answers than questions, or that offers a more relentlessly positive theology, spending less time than we do on the hard parts of life. No, not everyone is the kind of member we want, but only because we are not the place where everyone feels better about themselves. However, you will have noticed, I'm sure, that the far from exhausted list of the many kind of people we do want as members I just recited neither explicitly includes nor excludes people who are not like us or who are like us across any sort of demographic divide. Put another way, in defining the kind of members we want as anyone who feels better about themselves for being part of this church, this faith movement, we allow the people who are seeking a church to decide whether or not they are the kind of member we want. Now, I realize that complicates marketing and outreach efforts. We can't simply send a mass mailing to targeted zip codes or do whatever it is social media experts advocate for reaching a particular age, ethnic, or socioeconomic group. but growing a congregation of people who feel better about themselves and therefore become more fully and authentically the people they are called to be. This is worth the more creative and challenging efforts of bringing our ministries, our programs, and our existence to the attention of people we might miss if we were to more specifically define the kind of member we want. Because people who experience a deep and genuine sense of hospitality here will, over time and through their participation in our congregation, become better resourced spiritually, emotionally, and intellectually to serve the community and heal the world. As indeed most of you say has happened to you through your time and membership here. And thus, not only will our members grow, so too will our impact on Savannah and points beyond grow, our impact on the world, our impact on the environment. And speaking of numbers, what about that board member's other question? How many members do we want? There are practical considerations, of course. How many can we fit in our sanctuary? How many can find parking on Sunday morning? How many seats are there in the choir loft? How many Sunday school rooms can we equip and staff? Do we have the music and religious education resources to serve religious education resources and rooms for 2 services each Sunday? These are significant questions, appropriate for a board discussion with thoughtful and informed input from the staff member with the greatest knowledge of our internal capacity and the greatest knowledge or access to knowledge about the ways other congregations creatively and practically address such issues. That is to say, with thoughtful and informed input from the minister. But the minister has another role, as important, if not more important, than that of holder or accessor of knowledge. The minister is the keeper of the vision. And in that capacity, I say, we want as many members as there are people who find or will find this to be the home from which they depart feeling better about themselves for having been here. That may be 150. That may be 450. The movie line is, if you build it, they will come. The church's line should be, if they come, we will build the capacity to welcome them home. We've got talented, creative, skilled, and generous members. 7 of them were here yesterday on an August Saturday morning for a Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting. We've got the members and the motivation to figure it out sustainably for the long run. 150 might feel comfortable and doable, but if it's 450, we'll figure it out. Because there was space here for us when we were looking, perhaps without knowing it consciously, for a place that would make us feel better about ourselves for having been there. I've been talking for a while now about a non-standard definition of hospitality, but now I turn to what we more typically think about when we think about a church being hospitable or not. Once upon a time, in a city far, far away, I showed up at a Unitarian Universalist church I'd been attending for a while for what I thought was a potluck dinner with a bowl of beans or potato salad or something in my hand. Alas, it was not an open invitation potluck dinner. It was a more organized kind of dinner for which reservations were to have been made in advance. The woman who informed me of that fact was harried and seemed annoyed with me. "Oh, well," she said, "Fred Peterson's date stood him up. You can have her place at that table." I didn't take Fred Peterson's date's place at the table. I went home instead, and for the rest of my time in that city, I traveled much farther afield each Sunday to attend services at a different UU church. The minister of that church the first church, got word of what had transpired that evening and sent me a note. He apologized. He explained that the woman had had a bad day. But one less than hospitable welcome was enough for me to get the message that I was neither welcome nor needed at that church. Fast forward 30 years, and I was on the other side of the lack of hospitality equation. A Unitarian Universalist couple who had relocated to Savannah visited our church, and I gave them a less than hospitable welcome. That was enough to send them out our doors and into a different Unitarian Universalist church farther afield. This happened very early in my time here, maybe in the first month. My anxiety about being new and my unfamiliarity with our programs and offerings came across as unfriendliness and disinterest. It was not the responsibility of those visitors to divine my insecurity or give me and us a second chance. Just like it had not been my responsibility to guess that that woman in that other church had possibly had a bad day, or, as I have speculated in the years since, to guess that she really meant her "you can take the place of the no-show" as a gesture of hospitality, as her way of saying, "We want you here even though we weren't expecting you, so please take this seat that otherwise would go empty." Our invitations into church community matter, and the welcome with which we receive visitors matter. Which is not to say that ministers aren't allowed to have a distracted day, or that lay leaders can't have off days, or that churches only ever have one shot at offering a sincere and inviting welcome. But if one of the central tasks of the church is to be hospitable in the way I discussed earlier, that is to say, make people feel better about themselves for having been here, then we do need to pay attention to the basics of welcoming folks into our services and our social hour and all our other ministries, so that visitors don't make up their minds and hearts about us before we have a chance to offer the deeper hospitality. Hospitality is a job for our membership chair, our ushers, our coffee hour volunteers, our worship associates, me, and all of you. The good news is that the Soul Matters packet suggests yet another winner of a definition of hospitality, this one from Sister Joan Chittister. Hospitality is simply love on the loose. When we let loose the love we have for the Unitarian Universalist Church of Savannah, the love we've experienced at UUCS, the love of ourselves that has been deepened through our membership here, when we let loose our love, then everyone, from visitors to our church on Sunday morning to all the people we meet throughout the week, will encounter us as the embodiment of hospitality. Loving the church, being loved by the church, feeling better about ourselves for our participation in the church, these are all points on the cycle of hospitality that flows from blessing us to blessing the congregation, to blessing potential new members, to blessing the planet and the world community, and back to blessing us again. When we let our love loose, we don't merely sit at the welcome table. We set the welcome table right here on Troop Square for all kinds of people we can't begin to imagine, who might pull up a chair and take a place that would otherwise go empty, just as if we had been waiting for them. And we will have been. Amen. Please rise in spirit or in body for hymn number 407. We're going to sit at the welcome table. Let's be the welcome we crave. Open hearts, arms outstretched. Let's embody radical welcome, unquestioning love. Let's be the welcome we crave, deeply hearing voices and hearts. Let's be the welcome we crave, enriching, understanding. Let us embody the community we crave. Amen.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for waiting. Appreciate the patience. Sometimes people get nervous back there, you know. Congratulations to you both. Congratulations. Where do you live in North Carolina?
Charlotte.
Oh, big city, big city.